Making requests is a really important skill for children, especially when they're in the emerging phases of learning language. One activity that I use to help students practice making verbal requests is the toy bag. So the idea is I put a lot of highly desirable toys in a Ziploc bag. And the reason I put it in a Ziploc bag is so that children can see the toys, but I have control over whether or not they can have it. So they're going to need my help to access the toys that they really want. And so the idea is that before they can access these really preferred toys, they need to have a verbal output or a sign output. If your child is earlier in the process, then you might start by having them say please and then giving them the item. Or if they're emerging in language and they're able to say the word, the idea would be to have them make the verbal request by saying the name of the toy before they get access to the toy.
Would you like a toy? Unicorn, please. Unicorn, please.
Unicorn.
Good. Unicorn, please. Here's the unicorn.
In this clip, you will see me working with a student on making the one-word verbal utterance. So my goal is for the student to say unicorn or an approximation of unicorn. So if they say something that sounds like unicorn, it's okay to give them the toy. The idea is we just want something close to unicorn so that they practice making that verbal request for the item.
Would you like another toy? Carrot, please. Carrot.
Carrot.
Good. You'd like a carrot, please. Here's the carrot.
So sometimes you might not be able to get a verbal output, and it's really important that in this case, you give them another option to make the request so that they're still able to access the item, even if they aren't able to make that verbal output for you today. So that's why you'll see in the video, I'm modeling, even though I'm only expecting the child to say the name of the object, I'm still modeling unicorn, please. Because if the child isn't able to say unicorn that day or is resisting or is starting to get upset, what you can do is really gently hold their hand and help them sign please and then give them access to the item. And that way they're still practicing making a request even if maybe today is not the day for a verbal request.
Would you like a toy? Unicorn, please. Good, say unicorn. Unicorn, please. Unicorn, please. Good job. Here's the unicorn.
So once your child is able to say the name of the toy without you needing to prompt them, so when they're saying unicorn instead of pointing, and they're using probably the names for at least 3/4 of the objects by themselves without you needing to tell them to say the word, that's when they're ready to start building sentences. So the next step would be to prompt for unicorn, please.
Would you like a toy?
Unicorn.
Unicorn, please.
Unicorn, please.
So good. You have the unicorn.
If your child isn't able to verbally say both steps of the sentence, so if they're saying elephant and you're not getting the second word, they're not able to say elephant, please, then a great idea is to use the signs to approximate the two-step request. So prompt them to say elephant, and the sign is a good first step if you're having a lot of trouble getting the verbal output for both, and if you see your child getting frustrated. So we want to avoid frustration. This activity should be fun. So if you're not getting anything, use the gentle physical prompt to have them say please. So have them say elephant, please, and you can help them by modeling the word and doing the sign with them.
Would you like a toy?
Unicorn.
Unicorn, please.
Unicorn.
Unicorn, please.
Unicorn.
Unicorn, please. Good job. Here's the unicorn.
So depending on your child, it might take several different sessions. It might take weeks, months to get to them to the point where they're able to say 2 words sequentially on their own. So once they're really fluent in saying carrot, please, by themselves without you needing to prompt, without you needing to give them the sign, that's when they're ready to build longer sentences. And so I always suggest you work backwards. So if the sentence you would like them to say is, I want unicorn, please, the next step would be to say, want unicorn, please, and then we can add the I afterwards.
Would you like a toy?
Unicorn, please.
Say, want unicorn, please.
Want unicorn, please.
So good. Here's the unicorn.
And finally, once the child is using those 3-word utterances, so want unicorn, please, and once they're really fluent with that, they don't need you to prompt them, they're using all 3 words on their own, then it's time to add that 4th word. So then you can prompt for I want unicorn, please. And again, the signs are I want, and then the object name, please. And at any point, if the child isn't able to make that verbal utterance, you can help them communicate the same sentiment by helping them do the signs. So if they're not able to make the 4 words, you can help them by like gently signing I want unicorn, please. And they're still practicing making a request even if it's nonverbal.